What's going on, everyone? So we got a new update in regards to Josh Primo and the whole wave situation, him exposing himself to several women. Just to bring you up to speed a little bit, so Josh Primo, player for the San Antonio Spurs, 19 years old, young, promising, number 12 pick in the last year's draft, was waived by the San Antonio Spurs. He released a statement saying that he was dealing with some mental health issues, needed to step away from the team, but it just seemed a little off, didn't really seem right. Why wouldn't the Spurs go and get him some help? They don't really necessarily need him to, be with the team. They could go help him get right. We've seen the Spurs do stuff like that before. Things weren't really adding up, but I wanted to give and provide the update. If you want more of the details and information about the original reports and stuff, link down in the description below. Go check out that video, either before you continue this video or after this video. But sticking to this information, Hillary Cotton sues Josh Primo. Spurs says Primo exposed himself to her 9 times. So former San Antonio Spurs psychologist Hillary Cotton will file criminal complaint accusing Joshua Primo of exposing himself to her 9 times beginning in December 2021, per Shams. Cotton has also filed lawsuits against both Primo and the Spurs. According to the lawsuit, Cotton met with Spurs general manager Brian Wright last March to discuss her accusations against Primo, but nothing was done about Primo's behavior, per Tom Osborne of the San Antonio Express News. Primo's attorney denied the allegations in a statement Thursday. The statement goes as read. William J. Briggs II, attorney for Josh Primo, today issued the following statement. Josh Primo is a 19-year-old NBA player who has suffered a lifetime of trauma and challenges. He is now being victimized by his former team-appointed sports psychologist who is playing into ugly stereotypes and racially charged fears for her own financial benefits. In an act of betrayal against her young client, Dr. Cotton, who is 40 years old, falsely claims Josh Primo exposed himself to her during the course of her numerous therapy sessions. Dr. Cotton alleges allegations are either a complete fabrication or a gross embellishment of or utter fantasy. Josh Primo never intentionally exposed himself to her or anyone else and was not even aware that his private parts were visible outside of his workout shorts. Don't worry, we're going to dive into all this stuff in a minute. What makes the allegations even less credible is that Dr. Cotton never informed her patient of the purported exposure. Dr. Cotton was Mr. Primo's mental health support provider and confidant, a therapist who Mr. Primo trusted. She is much older than Mr. Primo, with many years of experience in the sport psychologist. It is baffling why she did not bother to tell her patient that his private parts were visible underneath his shorts. Josh Primo is at the beginning of the promising career and has been devastated by the false allegations and released by the Spurs. He is in the process seeking treatment to deal with the trauma inflicted on him by Dr. Cotton's misleading allegations. In addition to the previous trauma he suffered as a child, he looks forward to clearing his name and to move forward with his NBA career. So basically, Josh Primo, based on the allegations, was revealing himself to people. There were, in the original reports, that there were other than this doctor, that he had done this to several people, and that was one of the reasons they let him go. Now, the attorney for Primo is trying to say that he did not know that his junk was hanging out. Now, I don't know how many people watching this video have, a private part that dangles. And when you don't have, when it's out, you're usually aware of that, right? There's usually a temperature change, stuff like that. Unless, his thing hangs down to his ankles, you probably know, right? And so, he plays basketball in shorts, right? So, obviously there's things about that. I don't really think that that's the greatest defense. I also like how the attorney mentions that she has been a doctor in this field for years and years and years and has dealt with many, professional athletes and client stuff. And yet this is the only time this has ever happened. If she had a history of alleging these stuff, she's never had a problem before. Neither has anybody else, right? This is the first time we've ever heard an experience like this. Obviously, the San Antonio Spurs did their investigation and found enough conclusive evidence. Josh Primo says he had mental health things that were, cause of issue and all of that. And look, that very well could be the case. He very likely had a very troubling and just difficult childhood, but it's not an excuse to behave in a manner as such. And the problem is that the attorney, and look, I am a firm believer he's innocent until proven guilty, right? These are all allegations. I don't know if he did this or not. He very well could be a victim. But you have to look at the full scope of things. He's a 19-year-old kid that, thinks that that's okay. A lot of 19-year-old kids do a lot of dumb stuff. I'm not saying that it's an excuse or anything like that, but it wouldn't be the first time we heard a story like this, right? It wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened involving a kid, right? A teenager. But at the end of the day, if this did happen, no struggles you dealt with are an excuse for that behavior. There are many people that deal with, mental health issues, that deal with, past traumas, that deal with all kinds of stuff, PTSD, all kinds of things, and don't behave in that manner. He is old enough to know and understand that you don't show your junk to females, especially females and your job that are in a field that are supposed to be helping you. Like, this is your psychologist. If you're dealing with the mental health and you're dealing with, all this trauma and all these issues, she's the one woman that you're supposed to be able to relay this information to. And then the attorney tries to say, well, she never addressed it with the client. Like, what is she supposed to do? Dude, pull up, you keep showing me your pee-pee. Like, she went and talked to who she needed to talk to. Like, she's in this room with this player. She doesn't know what the situation is. She doesn't know what is going on. She doesn't know if he's going to get up and start attacking her. We've heard stories like that a million times. Like, she's in an uncomfortable situation, and your argument is she never talked to him about it. She shouldn't have to talk to him about it. He's not a 5-year-old kid that's like, oh, look at my ting type thing. Like, no, he's a grown adult by the legal system, and he's old enough to play and make millions of dollars. He's old enough to know, like, hey, you don't pull your stuff out and show females. Like, it's common sense. You learn that when you're a child. Hey, don't pull your stuff out. Pull your pants up, little boy. Like, you learn that stuff when you're a kid. He knows right from wrong. And then to try to twist this into a racial matter, I just think it's mind-boggling. If he did this, it has nothing to do with race. It's not like if a white man or if, an Asian or if, whatever, if somebody else went and exposed themselves, she would have been like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's great. But because, he's African American, he all of a sudden, like, that's the reason she's doing it. No, he did something bad. And look, this is the problem we have, is that when people do something bad, we try to deflect it and find a reason as to why this person over here would have gotten away with it. Or why this person, what about this? What about this? What about this? And instead, just addressing what was wrong. Now, obviously, the attorney's job is to defend their client and to, do what is necessary for the client. I just think the defense that he came up with is a terrible defense. Because even let's say she is a racist, right? Let's say she is. I don't know why she would be as a psychologist for the NBA, but let's say he's right. Let's say she is, and she is just this racist. If he still did this, it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with him doing in a decent exposure and, making that's sexual assault. Like, that's not good. Like, it doesn't matter what the reasoning behind why she decided to go and report it. It has to do with, did you or did you not do this? If he did, then he should be held accountable. If he didn't do that, then she should be held accountable, right? If this isn't true and he really didn't do any of this stuff and he wasn't exposing himself and he just got waived by the Spurs and has to deal with the lawsuit stuff, he should be going after everybody. He should be going after the Spurs for all that money he should have gotten and then some. He should be going after her for all that money and then some. Like, if this is a false accusation, which there are false accusations, it happens all the time, and it is very possible that this could be that. It's just a little odd. You got to look at circumstances. You got to look at the full scope of things. This woman, who is a professional psychologist doctor, who has worked for the NBA, works for, what is considered a prestigious organization in the San Antonio Spurs, has done this, even as the attorney acknowledges, has done this for years and years and years. All of a sudden just chose Josh Primo out of all her clients that she's had over the years. She chose this one to make up an accusation for. Like, why him out of all the players that she's had and dealt with? Why? Is it because maybe he was? And the attorney acknowledges that his stuff was out of his shorts. So, why? How did that happen? Get what I'm saying? So the attorney acknowledges that, yes, she did see his stuff, but, he wasn't aware of it. What? These are false allegations. It's not false allegations. Did he expose himself to her? Yes or no? Yes, he did, because you just said that. Okay, was it an accident? Possibly. But an accident that happened 9 times? One time, okay, maybe it happened. Look, we're men. If you're watching this and you're a man, or even if you're a girl and you have a man, right? What do we usually do with our junk sometimes, right? You tuck it into the waistband. We all do it, right? You tuck it into the waistband. Sometimes the little guy's hanging out a little bit. Got shirt to cover it, something like that. Maybe something like that happened, right? He's wearing basketball shorts. He's got to go do a therapy session. Boom, you tuck it in. Right, we did it in high school when you got to go up and do a presentation or something, or whatever, you're playing back. It's just something guys do, right? Okay, cool. So maybe that happened, right? And then you had this situation and whatever. She saw what she saw, right? Okay, maybe it happened by accident once, and maybe that's why she didn't say anything. But 9 times you kept and you didn't notice once? Like I said, we know. If you've ever had your stuff hanging out, okay, there's a clear difference in the weather and the temperature change here, right? It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. But again, if he didn't do this, then he should be going after everybody. If he did do this, then he should be held accountable. It's that simple. Not everything has to be, racially charged. Not everything has to be, what about this or what about that? Not everything has to be just this nonsense. Sometimes it is as straightforward as it seems. Did he do this? Yes. Then he should be punished. Did he not do this? No. Then the other people that accused him of this should be punished. Very simple. Very simple concept. And the last little closing note, it's kind of amazing how much stuff has happened this year in the NBA, right? How many of these accusations and just, craziness, with actual racism, with the whole sovereign thing, right? The Ime Udoka situation, this situation, it's just man, it's this is insane, right? I mean, it's crazy. The whole, Kyrie Irving situation, it's just been a rough, couple months for the NBA. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think of this situation? Do you think that it was a misunderstanding, that he didn't do this? You think he did do it? However you feel, whatever you think, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Love to hear.